Hello, my name is Macro, and this is another guide for another launcher. This is the Mark 153 Mod 0 Shoulder Assisted Multi-Purpose Assault Weapon, also known as SMAW or SMAW, depending on how you prefer to pronounce it. The SMAW is an 84mm assault weapon. In reality, it's likely to be used as an anti-tank launcher or for range demolitions. It has access to two types of rounds: high explosive anti-tank and high explosive dual purpose. As with the M136, one is better for anti-armor and another one is better for anti-infantry work. By default, the SMAW is ranged for 250 meters with its iron sights, and these are non-adjustable. It comes with the handy scope, and really you should not be using it without the scope. It looks like this, and it is adjustable from 50 all the way to 500 meters. It also has a spotting rifle or a ranging rifle that uses tracer rounds that have the same trajectory as an SMAW round or a SMAW warhead, so you can quickly judge and quickly test if your sighting is correct for the target. Just like the M136, the SMAW has some handy ranging tricks that you can use with its scope. So for 250 meters, if you aim at the top of a BTR's turret, the first horizontal line on the bottom should cut right under the hubcap of the wheel. So this is at 250 meters, and you can see, if I can just stabilize my sight, where the line is. Right under the hubcap. And I can demonstrate this without firing the launcher by using the ranging rifle. As you can see, it's ranged for 250, and it hits straight on the BTR. With BMP-1s, and by extension BMP-2s, although those do have a slightly different turret, but it should work in general the same. If you aim at this rangefinder in the top, the same horizontal line would cut pretty much right on the bottom of the tracks. And again, 250. For 500 meters, these are the same vehicles at 500 meters. You can see, if I aim at the top of the BTR's turret, if you draw a horizontal line from the bottom ends of the two vertical lines on the side, that line would cut at the same place right under the wheel hubcap, and that line would be exactly in the middle between the center of the reticle and the first horizontal line you used for 250. And if I fire, you can see it hit right here. With the BMPs, it's exactly the same. The distance is twice as much, and the line would be twice as close to the center of the reticle. So if you aim at the same rangefinder, the same imaginary horizontal line would cut on the bottom of the tracks. Now for the same vehicles, but facing you, I've also added BTR 70, 80, and the BMP2. It doesn't work quite cleanly with the BMP-1, but if you aim just above this missile launcher here, the same horizontal line at the bottom would be at the bottom of the vehicle's tracks. For the BTR-60, you aim at the top of the turret and align the same horizontal line with the bottom of the wheels. And that works for the BTR-70 and 80. Although with the 80, you should aim for this searchlight right here. It is slightly below the top of the turret. For the BMP-2, just aim at the top of the turret, and the line would be at the bottom of the tracks. So if I switch to the spotting rifle, fire... Oh, it's not loaded actually. If I fire 250, hit. And all these are standing in line, so I don't have to fire at all of them to showcase it. It works exactly the same as these vehicles at 500 meters. The principle is the same as if they were sideways to you. While by default, the SMAW only ranges up to 500 meters, you can use it to hit targets at ranges above that. Probably not going to be hitting any moving targets, and if you do, you are insanely lucky. For stationary targets at 600, 700, 800 meters, just follow these simple steps. For 600 meters, range your weapon at 450, and then use the second horizontal line on the bottom as the center of your reticle. For 700 meters, move it to 500, and then place the target in between the second and the third lines on the bottom. For 800, keep your range at 500, you can't go any higher than that, and then place the target just above the fourth line on the bottom. The SMAW is deadly, even at extreme ranges such as this target at 800 meters. All it takes is one shot to completely obliterate the vehicle. As I've previously stated, the SMAW does get access to two types of rounds: high explosive anti-tank and high explosive dual purpose. I will now demonstrate its effect on infantry. This is an infantry squad in a wedge formation at 200 meters. And if I fire the anti-tank one, you can see that they're safe and sound. Now, if I fire the dual purpose one, say at this AA gunner right here, death and destruction. You could probably tell the shrapnel actually made it over to me and hit the Haskell barriers in front of me. The main issue with the SMAW is the extreme weight of the weapon system. As you can see, this is our standard rifleman kit, and this one actually is lighter than usual. It has less grenades and less ammunition for the rifle. With the SMAW, with one rocket inside and one rocket in the backpack, and my total weight is just over 42.5 kilograms. This gives me very little stamina, as evidenced by this bar in the top right, and leads to heavy weapon sway. As you can tell, whenever I aim, even if I'm standing completely still, or even crouched, the sway is quite noticeable. And if I stand up and run a little bit, all my stamina is now gone, and if I sit down and try to fire, well, you can see it for yourself. The individual weight of a single rocket is just over 6 kilograms. The launcher with a rocket loaded weighs about 14 kilos. This leads to an issue where a SMAW gunner without an ammo bearer or an assistant gunner can only really carry one warhead without severely over-encumbering himself. This limits the effectiveness of the launcher and its usability in the field. However, despite that, it is a great weapon. Compared to the M136, it does have the luxury of an optic sight and a spotting rifle, which is highly useful, especially when you're trying to make those long-range shots at ranges above the standard maximum 500 meters. On this note, I'd like to end this video, and thank you for your attention.